What's up, fellas? In the second video of the day, we're going to be talking about the Atlanta Hawks. This is a team that I talk about a good amount. Most of the time, it's not positive. And in this video, it is going to be positive initially. The Atlanta Hawks have won 6 games in a row, so we got to talk about them, right? And we're going to talk about what's happening with this group ever since they've made the coaching change from Lloyd Pierce to Nate McMillan. What's going right for them and the possible sustainability of this 6-game winning streak as they are now, I believe, the 5th best team in the East. Record-wise, that's what we're going to be talking about in the second video of the day. But really quickly, before we get started, if you enjoy content like this, and consider subscribing. I upload twice a day, every single day on this channel, so it's the most consistent NBA content on YouTube. If you're new here, by the way, what's up? My name is Tucker. You can also check me out at the various links in a Linktree link down in the description below. And if you enjoy the videos, you can leave a like rating on them as well. Helps me out a ton. Lets me know that you're enjoying the content. With those things said, let's go and get started. Let's talk about the Atlanta Hawks. So, as I said, Atlanta was really struggling. They fired Lloyd Pierce. And they haven't lost with Nate McMillan. They've won 6 games in a row. And as of today, if the season ended today, the Atlanta Hawks would be your 5th seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs, which sounds really good, right? I'm sorry, Hawks fans, but I'm going to kind of be poking some holes in this here moving forward. We'll talk about what's going right. There's some good things happening here. But really, we're not going to know how sustainable this is for about another week and a half to 2 weeks. But let's go into it. So, at first, you're like, wow, 6 games in a row. No DeAndre Hunter, because that was the issue before, right? It was like DeAndre Hunter was hurt, and that apparently sent this Hawks roster into a tailspin. Like that was enough to just send them into a complete tailspin, was DeAndre Hunter not being there. So DeAndre Hunter still has not returned, but they managed to win 6 games in a row. They beat the Heat, they beat the Raptors, and that's exciting. And then they beat the Magic, Kings, Cavs, and Rockets. Not as great. The other problem, they beat the Heat without Jimmy Butler, and they beat the Raptors by 1 in a game in which Trae Young had 37 points, and Kyle Lowry was like the only real player on the floor for Toronto. That's not actually true, but like there was no Van Fleet, there was no Siakam, and they beat the Raptors by 1. They also beat the Magic, currently in the midst of a really long losing streak, by 3 points, and they gave up 112. So my point is, not that they're not playing a little bit better. Not that the coaching change didn't make a difference for them. My point is this. There's a road trip coming up for the Atlanta Hawks. And if they are still playing well, if they're still playing better, if they're still the 5th seed in the East, by the time the road trip is over, I'll believe. I'll buy in. Here's the road trip. It's actually 8 games in a row. I apologize. It starts with the Lakers and the Clippers, and it includes the Suns, Nuggets, and Spurs. So after April 2nd, if the Atlanta Hawks are still look like a really good team as they have the last 6 games, then I'll believe me. Like, hey, Nate McMillan was the right coach. They have a roster that makes sense. It's not going to be completely broken by DeAndre Hunter missing games. But until then, I'm sorry. I'm still just not a believer, because you go back and you look at it, you look at this winning streak, and rather than just picking apart the opponents, let's talk about Atlanta themselves, right? There's been a little bit of a bump in the effort and the defensive energy, as you would expect. New coach comes in, you want to impress the new head coach, although he's obviously been there. He's just now the head coach. And it's not abnormal for this to happen. Where you bring in a new coach, guys get excited, there's more energy, there's more defense, there's just a different voice, right? And a little bit of that has been happening here. And at first glance, you might be thinking, oh, well, now that McMillan's here, Trae Young's taking a bit more of a back seat. He had the one huge game, but he's also had a few games where he scored like 15 points. But they were blowing those teams out, so his minutes were down, and that's why his shot attempts were down. So overall, Bogdanović has been back during the streak, which is nice to have him on the floor because he is at least a competent basketball player, and there's one guy in the rotation that's not in the rotation anymore because Bogdanović is out there, and that's helpful. But he hasn't been playing particularly well, especially from a scoring standpoint, so that hasn't really been the huge difference maker. Gallinari's been playing okay. Again, no DeAndre Hunter here, but ultimately it's not, in my opinion, it's not a market improvement. It's not something where all of a sudden the Hawks have figured it out. They've won 6 games in a row. It's just not. A little bit of an energy and a defensive bump because of the McMillan thing, and an easy schedule. And I would love to be proven wrong about this. I really would. I think people have this assumption that I hate Atlanta. I don't. I legitimately, I'll tell you right now, I don't hate any team in the league. Do certain players and teams frustrate me? Absolutely. I've done my Trae Young rant. I've done it many times. But I would much rather have every team in the league be really good. The league's more fun that way. I just don't think Atlanta's very good. I thought they were before the season. I looked at the roster. I was like, I like the Bogdanovich thing. I like the Gallo thing. That, that could be a nice little addition. I think it pointed towards a John Collins trade, which reportedly we're not getting this season. But I wanted them to be good. And then we got, 30 games into the year, and I realized that's just not the case. And there's just a lot of questions about this group. I have questions about Trae Young. I have questions at times about John Collins. I have questions about the fit between him and Capella in the front court. I have questions about whether it was actually the right move to bring in Gallinari and Bogdanovich given the timeline of this group. And was it a mistake only brought on by the fact that this front office and coaching staff felt like they were about to be fired, which the coach was correct, and the general manager in the front office might be correct as well in that. And ultimately, my biggest frustration with this group is just the fact that they should be better than this. From a talent perspective, when you look at the roster, they have plenty of guys that you should be excited about. And ultimately, that is just not come together. Now, again, maybe this winning streak is a sign of things to come for Atlanta. Maybe they will be really good the rest of the way. Maybe this is the turning point, and Nate McMillan is the correct coach, and Trae Young will start playing winning basketball, and other guys will be making shots and playing good defense. That's absolutely a possibility. I just kind of wanted to make this video to say that I don't think that's the case, specifically as it relates to 6-game winning streak. Once the road trip's over, maybe they'll make a move at the deadline. Maybe they'll trade some of the young guys and go get another player. Maybe they'll trade John Collins, whatever the case may be. I do think there's a future here. I do think there's talent here. I just wish that they were better. I wish they played a brand of winning basketball that can actually help you in the long run. And I just don't think that's the case. So basically, the reason I made this video, I've had a lot of people ask me, you don't like the Hawks, but hey, they won 6 games in a row. Okay, well, anytime that a team beats the Raptors with only Kyle Lowry, beats the Heat with no Jimmy Butler, and beats a combination of the Magic, Kings, Cavs, and Rockets, I'm not going to get overly excited. I just wouldn't. I don't care who the team is. I'm not going to get overly excited, much less if it's the Hawks, a team that has continually showed that they're going to disappoint time after time. So I don't know. Hopefully it's a real thing. Like I said, 5th seed in the East. Congrats to them. They're doing great things, but every team, if they're half decent, kind of has these ups and downs where they play better when the schedule is easier and they play worse when the schedule is more difficult. And I think that's what's going to end up happening here with Atlanta. But hey, prove me wrong. Absolutely. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope on April 3rd or April 2nd, whenever, I have to make a video talking about how I was completely wrong about the Atlanta Hawks. I really, really hope that that's the case. But not hold my breath on that one. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the second video of the day, and I thank you guys very much for watching. You can check out the first video of the day from me talking about all these different trade rumors around the league if you would like to. You can check out the boxes on screen to see more videos from me as well as on the channel as a whole. You can leave a like rating on the videos if you're enjoying them, and you can check me out at various links in a link tree down in the description below for all these different socials you can hang out with me outside of these videos on. With all those things said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Friday, and I will see you all next time.